This might not be the moment for this. But you know how they consider like the runes, they're like sex organ sort of thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Look how fucking long his Heinz's thing goes down his whole body. The dude has like a 2-foot dick. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back to another episode of Macross Delta. I think we're halfway? We're past halfway? Yeah, we're past halfway,
Yeah.
right?
26 episodes. We're past 13.
Yeah, and then what's after that? There's the specials, a bunch of short content, 4 movies? I think there's like 2 main movies, a special one, and then one that came out recently, or somewhat recently after that one. Or actually, I might be just thinking of back to Frontier again. Because I think in Labyrinth of Time in my head, and that's a Frontier movie.
Yeah, that's a Frontier movie.
And as I recently noted in a comment for another show, no, actually in a different Discord, I was talking about a different Discord about Macross, that we're going to dead end, well, until the new show comes out, we're going to dead end on Macross 2, Lovers Again?
Lovers Again, which is an OVA. I think it's 3 to 4. I think it's 4.
Somebody was showing me their list of all the mecha anime that they'd watched, and I'd only watched like 14 on them, but I did have to comment, oh yeah, Macross 2, we're going to dead end on that, otherwise we're almost done our current watch through.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, well, we have a board, and we have the board changelog, and all that's really changed is I marked Marianne, that classic way. Well, to be fair, it's not written the way I would write Marianne either. Not to the way that I would be used to seeing it on, say, the Gilligan's Island opening.
Yeah.
Marianne Mustang and Gramia as dead. That's right, I didn't want to write all 3 parts of his name. King Gramia. Otherwise, though, we do come in with notes. You have more, and as per the rules, that means you go first.
I started episode 13, Diving into Passion. That lucky shot only hit because they changed the way folds work. Wouldn't have worked in SDF 1. When they get hit in the rear, it's like, oh, yeah. Because...
Let me counter your first one with my first one. So, lucky as hell shot. The enemy ship is moving past you and folding away. It's a protoculture ship, so you know absolutely nothing about it, specifically like where to target to do maximum damage. So you rotate your guns to track this thing as it moves past you and fire. Oh, except that it makes the leap to fold before you can hit it. Except, for the first time in Macross, weaponry follows its target into fold to hit it while folding. Bad luck, Windemirians, for this to be our first time seeing that. And then Ernst gets all this credit from the king for being such a cunning opponent. It's crazy times. We're living in crazy times.
I mean, it's a portal, so he should have hit it. Well, yeah, as a portal was closing, it went through and hit him.
I feel like, yeah, since Frontier.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's never been a portal before. You remember back to Samu in the fighter to get back to Earth? It's kind of just like they phase out and go forwards. Or Macross 7. Or, you know, the first time we experience it in SDF Macross, it's just like this weird shifty dimension that was like, what are we doing? Oh, I think we're in fold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this portal thing, it's relatively new. And I also don't remember anybody in Frontier getting tracked by a shot into the fold.
No. But they were, well...
I mean, the closest thing I would say, which is
Plus,
viable, is that we see formations of fighters going through fold, which would indicate that things could be near each other. It's just, again, the first time it's ever happened, and not for nothing, that's an energy weapon. This was Star Trek. You just blew up the wormhole.
Yeah. Well, in Plus, they do show the tunnel of light thing, but in 7, they just disappeared.
I don't remember it. Literally, I remember the speech about, hey, this thing might not work, and you might die from using it. Oh, also the speech with what the hacker name getting into the jet.
Plane.
And then I just remember them being in space above Earth.
Yeah. But I do remember they were going through the tunnel thing of light and like very CGI. Yeah.
You know, Plus wasn't my favorite, so I don't remember a lot of it.
But then back in 7, they just disappeared.
Well, yeah, I mean, just the way that SDF Macross worked.
And by extension, also Zero, because Zero, we don't see the ship go. The what's his name, Birdman go. They just fucked up.
Yeah, well, they just fly away. There's no pretense that they're folding. Although I do swear I heard the TARDIS noise while they were going away.
Yeah.
Time and space.
So your note then. Oh.
Well, I'll read my next one because my next one's just a sentence, not even a full sentence. Interestingly, Berger says restarting Zauberflute, which means magic flute. I will say I wasted a not insignificant amount of time trying to read what the plot was of the play Magic Flute, or I guess the symphony that the play goes with, to see if there was any correlation to what the story was of Macross Delta so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think after like 20 minutes, I just gave up.
Nothing to do with.
Well, no, there's nothing to do with, like, the idea of trying to escape a place with your loved one and then discovering that place actually was kind of paradise and then going through some, like, strenuous trials to prove that you're worth being there. And I feel like you could maybe make an analogy between the Wood-Demirian's effort to make this place a place worth living in, and then maybe finding out that it already was, and then having to go through, like, a thing. Like, the problem with trying to make a thing an analogy is that by any stretch of the imagination, you just could. But I don't know if it's there. Sorry, to bring us back to Gundam, oddly enough, Witch from Mercury has a bunch of allusions to the Tempest in it, and it's on purpose. You could make the analogy between the two because the show is trying to make it. So when they bring up the magic flute here, it's like, oh, is that actually sort of like, not even an Easter egg, it's literally magic flute, but is it something that I could read into? And it's like, if you try to read into a thing hard enough, you could, even if it's unintentional, or not there at all.
Just another short note from me. The nun's officer is a real bastard. But I already said that before.
Agree and disagree. I have a different view of him from watching it. Literally, it's my next note, so I'll just match your note for note, and then you can read your next note after this. Laurie's plan was heartless, but not without merit. He waited until the protoculture ship was right above the ruins to activate the nuke. That has to seem like the best chance to hurt the enemy and prevent them from achieving their goal at the same time. There's no telling what the result of their reaching the ruin could be. It could kill everyone anyways. Take control of everyone on the entire planet, who knows? This would be the last chance to use it either way, in which case he very much did wait till the last moment to use it.
Yes, I would agree, except that he got very excited for what happened after. It was like, so that's what we were.
I'm not including the read into what he does in the second episode with his, like, Shadow Council thing. I'm just saying that a generous look at what happened in the episode could see that Laurie
but what really happens immediately, like, so that's what the scientists were talking about, So to me, it's more of shooting two birds with one stone rather than, and his real goal wasn't destroying the ship. It was like, well, we didn't destroy the ship.
It seems like he was trying to destroy the ship and then got confirmation of something else as a result. Because otherwise,
I don't think is more important than destroying the ship.
Because if he was just trying to do the thing, he could use the appearance of the protoculture ship as justification in the first place. He didn't have to wait. He did wait, though. So there's an element there that you could, give him some benefit of the doubt, even though he proves not to be worth it. I'm saying that it's a dick move. It's a dick move either way, but it's a move I can at least understand. If this was a, did you ever watch Ra's Avon? Oh, there's a consideration in that of nuking literally where everybody's at to prevent basically alien spacecraft from doing whatever they're going to do to humanity, and that's the consolation of, do I save everybody and kill everyone, or if he was a less mustache twirling character, I think we could see more to giving him some benefit of the doubt. But I'm judging the action. I'm not judging the person or his motivation.
So the runes, the king's runes, or Roy's at least, can detect fold reactions. Interesting, because they sense the thing powering up before it explodes, and they're like, "Oh, raise the shields!" And not only does it raise the shields, like raise all the shields downward so they have maximum protection before it goes off. And it's like, "Oh, okay. The hell did he know that?" Because he sensed the rising full action in the bomb, right? It's like something
I feel
big
like
is
their
coming.
runes
So
can do a lot. Because,
yeah,
I mean, not to jump ahead, because you have a note about it. I don't think I wrote anything down about it, but it feels like what happens at the end, or I don't know, does it happen at the end of this episode and it gets referenced at the second episode that we watched? It kind of feels like, you remember, transfer my thing. Oh, no, actually, sorry. That was the hand, you'll always be my friend. I'm talking about when he grabs McCoy by the neck
I
and
know,
transfers his soul thing into him. It feels like that happened with between Royd and the King when their two runes came up together, and he says, "I actually contain the King's will," and it's like I don't think he's talking about the fake final words. I think he's talking about something that they actually transferred between themselves when we get the close up of their two runes coming up near each other. So I feel like there's
I
a
didn't
lot
notice
of
that.
shit that happens between. Well, just my
I didn't know.
interpretation of what he's saying. Like
Yeah, yeah.
he could literally be saying, "Oh yeah, no, the king told me everything at the end. I contain the king's will," but they zoomed in on the two because the king's rune comes up red, Roy's comes up green. I think his is green, and then the king's like, bleh, bleh, when he dies, and it feels like something happened there that they zoomed in on it for a reason to bring our
I
attention to
didn't
it.
notice that, which is my bad. But it also explained why they're so particular about the rune. Especially, it's like, oh, that's so intimate, right? Especially every time,
They regard it as like a mood ring, like if your dick was a mood ring, essentially.
yeah.
Well, it's because it's inappropriate for it always to be around. And then the way that Frey always regards is like, stop staring at you, pervert. Like, it's like a sexual organ, but maybe they're like the Na'vi. The hair thing that they've got, you put it together and it like is a thing. And literally we see them coming up together and it's like, well, that would be a thing. What if Royd was Gramius's lover? And that's why he feels he has some sort of in on ruling the kingdom. It's like, if this was an accepted relationship, I would be queen right now, or whatever the relationship was.
Yeah.
It would go to a prince. I should be in charge.
Yes, my next note then. Hayate finally got to use the special helmet, and I called back to Frontier with the use of the power arm as well.
My next comment is literally the same thing. All the build up for that helmet and what it would let Hayate do to improve his piloting, and it did absolutely nothing but become part of an ejection seat.
It saved his life, though.
Did it? I would argue that the what you just called power armor thing from Frontier saved his life. I think he would have been fine. He didn't if he bashed his head into the cockpit and the helmet was built into the power armor, so he didn't break his neck when he did. Then I would say it saved his life. But this is just unnecessary. Shit, we wrote the helmet in. Did we do anything with that yet? No.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, we're about to destroy the jet. You better do something with it.
Your next note then?
When they say that the Windemarian ship is fully connected to the protoculture ruins, it just looks like a bunch of worms. There's the red thing on the screen that's looks like essentially a bunch of worms. But thinking about it, the ruins itself looked like a root network going through the planet. The fact that it seemed to phase into subspace and back again in response to the nuke seems like a demonstration of that capability. So what if that root network, the worms image I was talking about before, extends into fold space as well, connecting all the ruins together? That the goal is to activate this entire network of ruins to have a full control of the entire cluster. Lori says that all of the ruins have been activated, so that at least implies the connection of one ruin to another, allowing the creation of that fold sound field that surrounds the cluster.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. I think it seems to be.
Well, you questioned during the episode where it came from or anything, because they say subspace instead of fold space or something. But I'm assuming that implies the existence of, if it can go into fold space or come out of fold space, why couldn't it just also exist in fold space? Since we're now implying, again, we see flights of aircraft going through Fold. That stuff can just exist in the Fold. And as per my previous theory crafting, that the Proto-Devlin are creatures that lived in the Fold.
This is something I made a mistake during the episode. It was like I was confused, but then when I saw it again, I was like, oh, this kind of make sense. At first, I thought the Walkure was on the Elysian and somehow transferred to the city ship, but they were on the detached carrier all alone.
When they're in that glowy pyramid thing?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it. I guess, yeah, well, I mean, I guess it makes sense because you see them on the pyramid, and then the Elysian comes in to save everybody, so they couldn't have been. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about it.
Because I thought they were in the Elysian, and did they go to the city? But they were, but the ship is here. It's like, oh no, they never. They were always in one of the carrier arms, which is the.
2 episodes from now, I have a comment about why the entire episode didn't work for me. So I think I'll cover that there. My next thought, though, I feel like Freya's superpower is to give everyone vertigo, which I guess is actually that super villain from DC Comics, Lord Vertigo. I can't remember his name. Imagine you were sitting down at your computer, heard a song, and suddenly felt like you were falling through the sky. It would be horrifying. I should also mention, when I was rewatching the episode, take my notes, I had like a 5 to 10 minute bout of dizziness just hit me. Like, wow. Unrelated to the show. So I have no idea what the fuck was going wrong with me that night, but literally I was going to imply it in a note that as somebody who's going through a bit of dizziness right now, and I'm writing that, I thought that doesn't come off implying like I'm having the effect of, imagine you're spinning around a lot, and you know how your eyes do that back and forth thing a lot? I'm doing that and feeling like I'm falling over this direction constantly. It's like that kind of dizziness about like what I imagine vertigo is described as. So just imagine you were like this, and suddenly the sensation of falling, and it's like, it'd be terrifying. Because you remember, you see Prince Hines and somebody else.
The White Knight also happens the same thing.
Yeah, they're just suddenly falling through the sky, and Hines very specifically. Hines very specifically doesn't know what the fuck is going on. It's like, it'd be terrifying. That's Freya's power.
My next note, then. I like Freya's evolution from Genki girl to full-on hero in this episode. Like she's always searching, okay, what's my role, what I'm going to do. And it's like, you know what? My role is to do whatever it takes to win. And she throws herself out of the ship. It's a bit exaggerated, I know, but,
My problem is that she keeps having to learn the lesson again and again.
Yeah.
She's kind of like, literally from 0.89, the lesson has been, oh, Walkure, they charge into danger to help everybody. I better do that every 3 episodes and learn that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. All right. My biting retort against the episode. In hindsight and rewatching episode 13, I will say that I don't think my opinion has changed on it from the reaction. This episode feels messy. It's an action set piece, to be sure, with a lot of visual flair. It's fun to look at, but the narrative is a tug of war between your local firefighters and the nearby elementary school. The narrative thrust portends a dark episode that will place our heroes on the back foot from which they will have to recover. And ultimately, the episode also chooses to end on that way, but not before giving our heroes as many victories as possible. And that kind of feels jarring, especially when I don't feel like some of them have been earned. Like Hayate taking Messer's jet and defeating Keith, not a few episodes after Messer was killed by him. Not because Hayate got any better, but because Freya's music somehow jazzed him up. I get that Vars made Messer better, but he was already a competent pilot from the start. Hayate was a fuck-up not that many episodes ago and got hand-waved to be one of the best. How much does Chuck suck that he's been doing this forever, and the new guy who worked with the docks can hear a song or want it more and just overcome all obstacles? I'm telling you, Lessons, living in the world of a musical would be a nightmare. Study your whole life, work hard, and one day hope to get that promotion, but here comes that plucky kid from down the street, singing a song, and sorry, promotion was his because he wanted it more.
But before that,
no defense of the episode.
I have my note, but I'll wait to it because I want to get through these other points. Roy's reaction to Freya's singing leads me to believe that he's going to pursue the Elysian to capture her. Because I get the feeling it's like,
who? Am I forgetting a person?
Roy.
Royd. Sorry, I'm hearing Roy.
But she jumped. Because he's jumping. She's jumping in and he's like, aha. Like, well, there she is. Like,
again, my confusion was I was hearing the name Roy, R-O-Y. You're saying R-O-I-D, right?
The Royd.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was confused.
Yeah, I just don't want to emphasize the D.
That's for the OnlyFans account.
Yeah.
It's my new OnlyFans account. Emphasize the D.
Go ahead. What's your next note?
Let's assume for the moment that the king's runes reaching out to Royd did mean that he was transferring command to Royd. Why the glasses change in that somber moment? Are these the glasses of command? Or was there something on the other glasses that would indict him? Sorry, I didn't know what I said there. Are they the spy glasses, like the bugs from before, and he records everything around him and doesn't want people to know that maybe the king didn't say that? His glasses weren't damaged. I checked twice. He just chooses to change them.
From the very beginning, we see that he has a bunch of glasses. Like, he has a huge collection of them.
Right. But my indication, my indication was that if he was recording all of his conversations or everything going on around him, or God knows whatever, that would be evidence that the king didn't say that. Right? Mm-hmm. He said, the king transferred command to me. Again, assuming that the runes going up together wasn't its own thing. That the runes don't have like some transfer of thought ability or whatever. That we're not some sort of weird version of the symbiotes from DS9. I mean, we're transferring experiences and whatnot. That if he was recording everything and he just didn't stop while the king was there, he's like, oh shit, I better change my glasses. That way, if anybody like arrests me, whatever the hell is going to go on, the evidence isn't going to be on my person. I only bring that up because we went through the whole spy bug thing before, and I was like, could be smaller. Glasses be pretty small, and I think this was made after Google Glass was a thing.
I mean, putting cameras on glasses has been around for a while.
Right. I'm just using the common thing that would have been out there. People were excited for Google Glass until they got it.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not going to counterpoint that because although I don't think there's a lot of evidence for it, it's a good theory that I actually like. So
my problem is that there's no evidence for anything, unfortunately.
Yeah,
why did
he change the glasses?
Did you have a theory about the glass, or did you not even make a note?
No, I mean, I think it's just I think it's more of these are the glasses of command. Like, this is my new look. I see. But
I mean, it's funny. It's funny to think about, but it's like it's the Ortega thing for me. Why did he say that?
Yeah.
Why did he change his glasses?
Yeah. So my last point here on diving in passion. And it kind of goes to what you were saying about the episode. Had they pressed their advantage, they might have won. But then again, from the point of view of the protocol, from their point of view, the protocol ship did suffered minimal damage. Their goal was to extract the civilians after all, and the Illyrians suffered damage as well. And they didn't know that they killed the king. In other words, it's like, we got this opening. We have how many civilians we have in this ship. If we don't leave, what's going to happen next? So they left.
Well, I think my point of view when I was reacting to the episode, and I was saying that same thing, was that why are they even leaving anymore? That was my point of view then, and then my note that I brought up the problems with the episode supersedes that. I understand why they left, because they want this to be a dark episode that leaves our characters on the back foot. I disagree. I disagree with the element of not with you. With the episode. I disagree with the element of the episode where they try to give the heroes as many wins as possible, and it's like, that's damn brain not working with me today. The word that's coming to my head is not even a word. Disharmonious. That's not what I meant. Discordant. It goes against.
Discordant. Yeah.
It goes against what the episode feels like it's about. Like, we want to have a dark episode, right? We want to kill Michael in front of his love and throw him out into space, and then have her watch it, and then have to end the episode with that note of, oh, we just lost an important character. But we also want you to feel victorious. We want Oh, look, Freya's finally coming into her own. Hey, look, Hayate is defeating Messer's killer. And it's like, these two things should not be in the same episode. We should have a dark episode where, oh no, did Chuck's sister just die? Oh no, we lost Ragna. Everything is going wrong for us. We've got to get the fuck out of here. The nuke just went off. And then we should have an eminently victorious comeback episode where we take out Keith, where all the stuff, have Ernst come back in with a flying save the day thing at the end. These should be two different episodes. One to make us feel despair and one to make us feel joy. And putting them together ruins both. This isn't the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup of an episode. This is the I poured my bleach into your spaghetti. Well, I'm using bleach as the joy episode because I guess joy is also a form of detergent, but I meant to clean everything up. And I guess not a big fan of spaghetti anymore.
I'm with bleach, I would say. Your next
well, not unless you're a fan of Tide Pods.
Yeah.
I think Mikumo is either going to be the last of the protoculture or an experiment of theirs that created a single life form. We've seen her floating around underwater with no need to breathe. Her dream seems to indicate that she can float in space the same way. I'm taking her dream to be a memory instead of a dream. She's just too out there. I don't think she's the key. Sorry, I don't know why I put the word don't. I think she's the key to some storyline, but I don't know what yet.
Well, that's my first note in the episode 14, Drifting Embrace. Clearly, Mikomo has a special connection to what is happening. Is she a reborn member of the original protoculture?
I mean, it's as valid as mine.
Also, because kind of her dress was kind of particularly alien as well, with lines and whatnot. And she was looking, and she seemed like she remembered this ancient construct. Oh, okay, I've been here before. And even she came out. She seems to have wings as well, kind of like. But I think it was Heinz. But really, kind of when she first appeared, kind of she had these wings as well. What the hell?
I do not remember wings. Maybe hair.
Yeah. Whatever. She had her hair can go like that, very wide. So I guess since I answered your note, with my note is your note next.
I know I marked Marianne as dead, but I suspect whenever we make our triumphant return to Ragna, she'll be there. Effectively, she got hit by a wave of water that didn't really adversely affect the boat. More than likely, she just got knocked into the water unconscious. She's an amphibious creature. She could breathe underwater, even if she got knocked out.
I have a note about that, too. I just jump into it right now. I mean, the Ragnans are amphibious, but Marianne got hit by a wall of water caused by a nuke going off. Just like getting hit with a concrete block at supersonic speeds. But I guess water is always soft in anime unless otherwise stated.
My point was more so the fact that the kids survived and it didn't seem to do anything to the boat.
Yeah.
So if it didn't hurt the boat, it didn't capsize the boat, so it wasn't that strong. It was, I think, like getting hit by a splash of water at a water park.
A wave.
Yeah, well, I mean, wave from the wave pool. Strong enough to knock a person over, not strong enough to knock any of the stuff around the pool over.
The next note, then.
I'm not sure what the nuns' plan is. They seem to want to let the Windermerians exploit this fold system as much as possible with the intent of using fold jammers later to do something. The only thing I could come up with is to let them take over the cluster, and then when their forces are totally spread out, activate the fold jammers and let the people that they were controlling take them out. Now that they are spread out all over cluster, I'm saying the same thing twice. That, or maybe it's a Uno reversal. The fold jammers will redirect the signal back on the Windermerians themselves.
My take on that. Again, the nuns come off as complete bastards here, but what exactly did they try to do 7 years ago? We were led to believe that they used a fold bomb, but what if they were trying to unlock the power of the protoculture ruins and it backfired? Could the nuns have manipulated the Windermerians through the Epsilon Foundation to have them activate the protoculture ruins for them? Whatever the case, I doubt these fold jammers will work, at least for long.
Yeah, I mean, it could be an element of together they found the ruins and everything, and then they betrayed each other then.
Yeah.
So they figured out what they were, or they didn't figure out. We know that they're only like 60, 70% knowing how the stuff works. They could have come up with an idea about how all this stuff works and then betrayed each other at that point.
I'm just going to throw this line here because it's just Freya never lies. She lied.
I don't know what that's in reference to.
She's walking among the refugees and it's like, and someone's like, oh, everything's going to be okay. It's like, well, everything's going to be okay. I never lie. So, yeah, she lied. Which she has lied a lot, too.
I don't know. She could actually believe that, though.
Yeah.
She's happy-go-lucky.
True. But we also know she's a liar.
I mean, I know I've called her a liar before, but I think that turned out to me being wrong. I don't know. What is she lying about that year specifically? Like, not this time, but before.
She lied about the fact that the reason why she escaped Windermere was because the mayor of her town wanted her to marry his son.
I mean, that's what the start of me calling her a liar was for. But I think I later indicated that fire was probably caused by the explosion of the dimensional bomb going off. So that's why I kind of backed off on the whole she's a liar thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what makes Windermere special. It has a dimensional shield around it. It didn't have a ruin of its own, just a ship, a protoculture ship. I don't remember if Windermere was in the pattern of the planets overlapping a signal or not. It's just clearly meant to be unique, as it's where the protoculture people went, since there was a ship there, and tried to defend themselves from something, as there's a shield there.
Yeah, that's a big question. And we speculated before that they might have created the Windermereans as sort of a fighting race for them.
I thought the whole slave race, the whole cluster slave races thing, but it kind of feels like maybe they were running from something. Like, because again, it's a ship, like it's buried under the ground because, 50,000 years, 500,000? 500,000 years. Who the hell knows what?
They were running from the Centrati, running away from the evil, running away from each other. I mean, there was a war between them, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like, where did they go then if that was the case? Like, wouldn't the Centrati have left something behind if they were here? Because but
if they put
Frontier,
a barrier between them.
Think back to Frontier and the dead Centrati fleets that are just floating around all over the place. We haven't seen any or no mention of any Centrati fleets. Also, if the Centrati were here, these people all would be fucking dead. These are all Myclones. We destroy planets of Myclones. Only on Windermere.
Yeah, well, okay.
I'm talking about like the whole cluster is filled with Myclone races.
The reason why they destroy Myclone is because if they reach reflex technology, then they become a danger. So they destroy them, or
they destroy them just for being Myclones. That was Golg's whole thing: is that we don't contact Myclones, don't talk about this with anyone. We destroy Myclone planets. That's the visual he showed the SDF Macross crew when they were standing on his table.
Because they would contaminate the Centrati, but if they don't have no contact with them, then they just leave them alone, right?
I think they go out of their way.
Well, remember, no. They were searching, they were following, they went to Earth because they were following
I'm not talking about the Earth
ship.
thing. I'm not talking about the Earth thing. I'm talking about Golg's speech. Seems to imply that they go out of their way to wipe out planets entirely if they have got Myclones on them.
The way I understand it is that they do wipe out entire planets if either the Myclones have technology that can, that can threaten them, like they have like reflex technology, whatever, or
reactive technology,
reactive technology,
reaction,
or they come into contact with Centrati and give them the culture and basically destroy Centrati to do that. So it's like, no, we got to wipe you out because
the visual that he showed though didn't show anybody like fighting back against them or anything. It was just literally our fleet came in, planet went gray, we're done.
Yeah, that's showing that that's how they're. I think that was meant to be like, this is how far we're willing to. This is what you do when that happens. We wipe them out, no questions asked.
I think you're inferring a bunch of stuff that I'm not inferring, and I think there's not enough information to go off of one way or the other. I think if the Zentradi had shown up in the cluster, we wouldn't be talking about the Ragna. There wouldn't be any Ragna. There would be. Maybe that's the point of the cluster. Maybe the cluster hides this stuff. But then again, what happened to the protoculture then? I mean, the problem
That's
is, at the end of the day, the protoculture doesn't seem to be any better than we are.
no, but technological advance, but that was it.
Well, as I'm saying, that they went to civil war with themselves. So if they are just as susceptible, let's say, to the human condition, which is to say, fight, you know,
Fear.
well, I mean, it could just be that any survivors would eventually just suffer the same problem too. You know, we crash landed on this planet. Well, I guess the problem is then again, the Windermerians didn't like rebuild the ship. This isn't like the SDF Macross. They found the ship, analyzed it, and figured out how to make it work. Meaning that if there was a protoculture crew on it, they could have just flown away. So they decided to stay there and die there. Are the Windermerians the protoculture?
That's probably what Roy thinks.
I keep hearing Roy.
Roy.
Oh, yeah, I keep going back to Roy from SDF Macross. I don't know, because the idea that Makumo could be protoculture. Maybe there was like very few protoculture. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe there was like, like the first ones from Babylon 5. Maybe there's like just a few of them, and that's the thing. That's why, but maybe only one protoculture person ran that entire ship, and that's Makumo, and she lost her memory, and that's what this is. That that was my ship. I lost that 500,000 years ago, and then I went floating in space. How did you get to space if your ship's on the ground?
I mean, that floating in space could just be an analogy of how she feels alone or something like that.
I'm counting it as a memory and not a dream. So, I don't know. Whose thought was this? That was mine. Yours is next.
Yeah, mine next. With the King dead and the White Knight out of commission, nothing stands between Royd and full control of the cluster. Because clearly Keith does whatever he says, basically. He's a kid.
Well, no, they've been arguing. He said also Keith was putting him in his place. Like, you have no authority here anymore. So
not Keith. What's a Heinz? I'm talking about Heinz.
Oh,
Keith, yeah. Keith is, in a medical coma. So yeah, he's not.
Well, yeah, I know. I recognize you saying Keith or White Knight when you meant Keith. Sorry, you said Keith after saying White Knight separately. So I thought, okay, you mean Keith?
Yeah, my mistake was my mistake. I meant Heinz.
I don't know, because Heinz has this whole thing about not wanting to kill people, and then he pushes that. Well, he pushes that on Royd, and then Royd pushes that on Keith to the point where he pulls a sword on Keith, remember? So he does want to follow Heinz's thing, well, up until, I guess, the possibility of becoming king of the protoculture. But then again, they say, all hail the one true king. And they're not talking about Gramia says that, and Gramia's not talking about himself. And he's not talking about Heinz. So
they say name, but I don't recognize the name. So,
yeah, I didn't write it down either.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're not talking about themselves. So I assume it's just like some title for like the king of the protoculture. My last note: when people are legit concerned about running out of air, and not for no reason, they are legitimately running out of air. Holding a concert seems like the worst idea. I mean, sure, it gets spirits up, but also gets everyone more active and using up more air.
I think it's supposed to be like a host spot, right? People could get calm, etc. The song itself is not.
They're
one
literally
that
getting the crowds. And, yeah, literally breathing more air.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to like calm people down. Inject the air with a sedative or something.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes left. So my number 6 note. Apparently, the combination of being dormant for 30 years plus any damage caused by the emergency fall, which they mentioned a couple of times that did cause damage to the ship, was what leads to the city ship current condition.
Well, they said, we should have warmed it up beforehand. It's like, that's the argument I was giving you during the episode. Was like, we saw the lights go out in the city ship back when they were doing their festival, so implying it's been on. So
yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's being maintained at all levels. It's like minimal maintenance, right? It's a mothball ship, right? Mothball doesn't necessarily mean that it's kept.
Well, you're putting that label on it. Mothball. I mean, I would assume it's not even a mothball ship because it's not. It's, I don't know. Do you consider a museum vessel a mothball vessel? I don't think it's
depending on
mothballed.
the
It's being maintained because it's meant to be.
yeah, but a
It's
museum
not
ship
being
probably
maintained
doesn't
for the
have.
same purpose anymore, but I would still argue that it's still being
Mm,
maintained.
yeah, it maintained clean and whatnot, but
So
most of the systems are dormant.
I would put a
It's like
city ship into the same level as a museum ship, which is to say it's still being maintained for use, not for the same use, but it's still being maintained for use. Conceivably, you would still think this thing might need to move at some point, so you would still
yeah,
maintain.
but like most museum ships, their guns don't work, their radios don't
Well, that's why I
work,
said a
their
different purpose. It's being used, but for a different purpose.
so a lot of this stuff like jumping into another space that would be something that
A museum ship isn't considered a building.
yeah.
So a museum ship might need to leave port at some point to go
It'll
somewhere
probably
else.
get towed. It can be towed.
I don't know. I agree. I obviously don't disagree on there's been peace. Peace. What's the word? Peace binded.
Peace dividend?
Peace binded. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Peace binded? Like peace binding
Well,
a weapon?
you take away the ability for the guns to work and everything like that.
Yeah, peace binding.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that element. Obviously, they're there for show.
Decommissioned. They're decommissioned. That's what the word it is. Actually.
Right. Well, decommissioning can also just be words on paper. It doesn't actually reflect physical ability. I'm just saying, it seems I'm incredulous to the fact that the city ship is in such disrepair when it seems like people are actively living on it in their day-to-day lives. It's the
We
mainstay.
don't see
Also,
anybody
it's
inside.
as we already heard earlier in the season, it's the supply of energy for the entire city. I mean, all the non-city ship part of the city. So the engines and everything should be maintained. You're saying that they're so shit at their own area that they're letting the actual power center of the city just fall apart.
I mean, minimal requirements. We don't know what the requirements of the city are for power.
That's still indicative of being shit. You know, this is okay. They're the Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
Homer is running the nuclear power plant, doing a minimum amount of job to make sure that the power for the entirety of Springfield is available
and beyond.
And you're like, this is fine. I can accept this as an excuse. It's like, no, Homer should not be real.
Yeah.
Either the Ragna kind of deserve their fate for, being so shit at this, or something else is afoot that the show just doesn't want to tell us. Like, I'm not saying there's a good reason for this. I'm saying there's not.
My next note. We talk about Hayatus died and you want it to be someone else, but going back to what he said about his father, I think he's could Hayatus be or was involved in studying protoculture ruins and tech for the nuns? That would explain the full quartz pendant and perhaps Hayatus' affinity as well. Also, the places his father described match Wildermere, Snow, Al-Shahal Desert, and Ragna Ocean. Because basically the way he says, I don't know what my father was doing. My mom was a medic, but my dad was simply in the military. But the way he says it is like, he was going to these secret places to do things, right? And he only said me these things, right? He couldn't tell me what he was doing. So maybe that's how the nuns got their info. His dad was one of the researchers of the original research of these areas.
I don't know about the nuns thing. It's a good call out about the things that he sent me. I didn't think about that. Sorry, when I was rewatching it, obviously I was just getting sour about our argument that we had about the value of who his dad was. Because I didn't want to rehash that argument, which is why I didn't even make a note about the dad. I don't fucking care who the dad is anymore at this point. That is a result of the argument. I think my point of the argument was just that I would be more interested if it was somebody, especially with this is like the last show in the Macross line so far. This is our last chance to bring somebody back. So yeah, good call out on this planet represents this thing he sent me. That makes it pretty clear that he probably was going around researching the ruins. I don't know what the full crystal represents.
Yeah. I mean, we do see it full crystals inside the ship. Remember, there were the clusters on top.
Yeah, you think this guy would have gotten access to that ship? I guess maybe 7 years ago. Yate is clearly older than 7.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, this relationship's going to be awkward and not safe for TV.
Yeah. And apparently we're back to Mach 7 city ship design with towers that poke through the dome for some dumb reason. Although this one doesn't have the conch shell cover.
I don't know why it doesn't. I thought it did.
No, it doesn't. In fact, the sky itself, the segments of the dome are the ones that change into different the sky
Yeah,
and not.
yeah. The dome was the one that changed in Macross 7. Yeah, that's right.
It reflected the moon and all that. It created an artificial sky.
Well, it didn't reflect the moon. It was an artificial sky.
Yeah, it was an artificial sky that was reflected toward the
yeah,
and also serve as a covering in terms of emergency, right? Which why wouldn't this city ship have that? I guess they were confident.
They removed it to build something else,
or they went full Enterprise E. C. No, D was like, oh, we can have families in our warship, no problem.
Well, it's not a warship.
It's
not a warship.
That idea, we don't longer need that kind of protection anymore because Well,
again, because the Enterprise mostly, if you count the number of episodes that they do, is a diplomatic ship. So it's real hard to do exploration and diplomacy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first contact diplomacy is one thing, but I mean diplomacy through nations and whatnot that you're already doing stuff with.
Now, this is my take on the episode. I know you have a different opinion, but here we go.
Well, wait, are you on this? Are you on 14 or 13?
I'm on 14 already. Okay. I said I was on 14.
Well, no, I gave my opinion about 13, and then you said you have a different opinion. It's like I only gave my opinion on 13.
No, because that was my explanation of why they were pressed for why they didn't press the advantage. That was on 13. This is my take on.
No. I'm saying 14. Right now, you just said, I know you have a different opinion. It's like, I only gave my opinion about 13. I didn't say anything about 14.
Okay. Let's see if you agree or disagree with my take. Probably you won't, but here we go. Not a bad episode. A lot of setting the table, so to speak, for what comes next, but I do believe that they resolved the problem a bit too quickly at the end about the funding, because they talk about, we're cut off from everybody. We have no funding because, the council of the defense council dissolved. They don't have anything. And then at the very end, a couple of corporations are going to give it money. It's like, okay, that easy, huh? Ironic considering that my biggest gripe about the Lost City ship arc in Mach 7 was that it dragged on for too long.
I mean, it was a dumb episode. It was a dumb episode because of a lot of dumb stuff that happened. Like, again, the singing when you're running out of air, or the concert that gets everybody hyped up. Why did we take our clothes off? Do we remember?
Well, so they can push themselves forward.
Oh, okay. Certainly no way we could have just done that and still had our clothes. But
how do you do that we don't have any other anchors?
Well, I mean, for one thing, didn't need to use all of our clothes. How did all of our clothes need to be?
I mean, they could. It's air. They're going through the air, so they literally could swim through the air.
Yeah. It's a medium. Also, they could have swung off of one another.
Yeah.
Thrown each other in two different directions.
We needed them in their undies,
so that they could also have a pillow talk scene later.
Yeah.
And then broadcast that over. It's a bunch of like shit that's like, this is a very serious scene, but let's make it lighthearted. It's that narrative dissonance that I was talking about with the let's make things as dark as possible, but also as victorious as possible. Let's make things as life-threatening as possible, but also has many jokes as we can. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like falling off a little bit, but I feel like the episodes need to have a theme to them, and we're like losing what the theme is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I get that, this should have been another dark episode after what episode before should have been a dark episode. We should go through a dip of emotion, like depression. Oh, what's that? I think it's a little bit of light. There's light. Oh, and now we're coming back to it. Yeah. But no, we're like, this show can't have any darkness. Even when someone's dead, we have to like sing a song and be happy about it. It's like, I don't know. I need a clearer way that I'm supposed to feel, and you're making me feel two different things, and it's not the right things.
And my final note. First, Roy lied about the king's last words because I think he said Keith. And now when he's talking to Heinz, he has the king's will, whether it's mentally in his head or he actually has a physical document. I don't know.
I am
taking a page.
Oh, sorry, no, I thought you were done.
Taking a page from Gaius Augustus, I see.
Okay. I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to start an argument because I don't have the time to argue. I don't think he said anything. I don't think the king said anything. Like, if he did, he didn't say it. There was no subtitle, and we didn't hear him say anything. So when you said, I think he said, no, there was no subtitle anyway. So if he did say something, he didn't subtitle it, which means I would only heard it in Japanese. So I didn't hear Keith either way. It was literally, so I didn't hear a damn thing, even when I was listening non-reaction. So when you say I think you said Keith, not a thing for me. But I guess the last bit there is just, what I think the runes. Like, if we can go back and watch it, there's just a rune.
Yeah. Oh, those are my notes.
All right. Well, I guess there's nothing left to do but to hop on in.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
You are recording, right?
Yes. Thank you for asking that on the recording.
Just checking.
So they went back home. Oh, and
new intro.
So literally, I was holding my volume down button on a remote, thinking it was my push to talk button. I was saying an actual new intro instead of the recap intro we just got a second ago, last episode. Of course, still have to talk over it for every time, but I mentioned this in a recent recording of G-Quirks.
Yeah.
Going back and rewatching episode 13 as I was editing it, I really do like Freya's musical interlude in mid-fight.
Okay.
Well, yeah, as I said before, it's like diegetic to what's happening. Her, the beats that she's giving for the lyrics of the song match the
action.
Well, I'm not going to say the action. It's like the difference between when someone's running and every footfall matching like a beat of a drum, that sort of thing. But yeah, I know it's very hard to have to talk over a thing and then try to figure out what's going on in the opening. But
yeah,
clearly you're the one who's trying to figure out what's going on in the opening while I have to have a nonsense conversation with someone who's not paying attention.
No, I am paying attention. I'm trying to do both.
Well, you can't really do both. Remember that we have to take notes about this at a future date, in which case you'll have all the time in the world to see the opening, whereas I am not. Oh, now the hunters are going to be able to figure out where you're at.
If he cares about that.
Was this Royd or Keith? Oh, not Misha. My problem is I'm desperately trying to remember his name. We've got Heinz ketchup, and we've got this other condiment, and I can't remember who he is. Starts with an H. I bet he lives at an apple farm. I guessed wildly wrong. Did not anticipate everyone was dead in his family.
No wonder he's so hungry all the time. Maybe
it's
they
motivation.
Died in that.
Yeah, I assume he also doesn't know that the Windemarians internally claim that they did it. Yeah, it's been a long road getting from there to here. Curse you, everyone who doesn't like the Enterprise theme song. What a very Gundam discussion. One of them is gonna obviously turn into a Giran who doesn't want to negotiate.
遺跡を利用することも考えつかれた。まさに風を知る賢人。ほう。やり方が手ぬるいと言っていたのはどこの誰だったかな。あれは
Mostly Keith, I think.
雲の巣から落ちる覚悟でお詫びするほかなさそうだな。Do you?
ところで息子にはもう会いに行ったのか。確か
I have a son?
Oh, now they're setting up for him to die? Oh, you have a son. Oh, yeah.
To be fair, they were establishing like backstories and personalities for all the characters we barely ever got. You know what this reads as to me? The Dragon Slayers from Visions of Escaflowne. Let's really establish them, just so they can die.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, we only live for 30 years, so you really gotta pump them out.
誰にも文句は言わせん。よく覚えとけ。戦があろうとなかろうと、命の終わりなんていつ来るかわからんのだ。
Wow, that's not simply showing you a death flag. That's waving it around like that.
I mean, for him, it doesn't matter. He's over 30.
Yeah.
But you can tell he's over 30 by the white shit.
What's this?
Royd.
Oh. Yeah.
Keith? Keith recovered? Yeah, has to be Keith. Like I said, I don't know who else it would have been, right? So that or a new character. What is on your face, my man? Did you lose an eye?
私が翼を折ると言ったとき、お前は反対したのだ。だが、すべては勝利のためと理解してくれた。そして、白き翼を黒く染めた。何が言いたい？
I bet you he lost an eye.
予想もしていなかったような事態が起こる可能性もある。
Unfold, yes.
それでもお前は私の力になってくれるか？
You see, he's got that thing right above his forehead. It's gonna be an eye patch or something. Really? I was for sure they were gonna give us a scene of him turning to face him completely. By the coronation.
Really? That's an eye patch, you're right.
Yeah. I was saying they're doing their damnedest to hide his face. I thought it was gonna look cooler than that, though. I think there's something we can all agree on. Losing an eye, not cool. Eye patches, the fucking coolest. Alright, R for L substitution. Hellman was what his name was, now that I remember. Condiments. Late King's concubine.
Oh, so they're how children.
Well, I mean, it explains why he's not in line. As long as they don't come from me for the right side, we should be good.
私と共に歩んでほしいのです。昔から兄様の飛ぶ姿が好きでした。
I guess it really shouldn't like throw him off that much, since he senses everything through the wind more than he does eyesight.
美しい。兄様も戦っている。そう思うことが私の支えでした。
Really gonna suck when Heinz gets betrayed.
私は騎士。この国の空と風を守ることが使命です。
そうですか。あなたを兄と呼ぶのはこれが最後です。キース兄様。
This might not be the moment for this, but you know how they consider like the runes, they're like sex organ sort of thing.
Yeah.
Look how fucking long Heinz's thing goes down his whole body. The dude has like a 2-foot dick.
あなたの方から呼び出すなんて。救助星団の奪還作戦の方はどう？会議は続けてるけど、なかなかね。それがどうかした？一つ方法があるかも。
I'll tell you later, I guess.
Yeah.
本当にお店ごと避難してきたんですね。
今日からここが私たちの部屋だって。
元はチャックの部屋だけどな。
私のエリア立ち入り禁止。
Kind of cute.
部屋にお風呂があるんかね。
違うって。ラグナ人のベッドだよ。
ベッド？
Like I said, sister is gonna be fine when we get back to Ragnan. They sleep in water.
それって銀河ネットワークが乗っ取られた。あ、この後ろ。ウィンダミアから。
By the way, yeah, I had to edit through our whole definition. What's the definition of hacking? That. They hacked the Galactic Network. That's the definition of hacking. Also, technically, I don't think they hacked it either. They technically have control of the nodes by each planet that they have control of, so I assume they just control the network in this specific globular cluster. I thought they were like hypnotized or something.
Gonna be the first time.
Yeah, let me reveal to you your new queen, Sharon Apple. Oh, that would be fucking amazing. I would be down for that, 100%.
そして風の歌い手とグラミアネーリ・ヒウィンダミア王のもとついに立ち上がったのだ。悲しいことにグラミア王は先の戦でお命を風に捧げられた。しかし陛下はその最後の羽ばたきで救助星団を奪い返してくださった。西風圏は確立されたのだ。今こそ亡き戦王のためにも宣言しよう。正義は我らにありと。
That's the scene I told you about before that you said you missed.
なんだ？
監視衛星の映像。
まさか。
VF-22新統合軍の特殊作戦用の機体。
Is it going to be footage of the dimensional bomb?
Probably. Yep. But where did it drop them?
Oh, into that city, remember? Oh, this looks to be different. I guess that's why it would make it an internal crater and not just a giant hole in the planet.
次元兵器で我らの大地を汚したの新統合軍である。
Thank God the one technology we didn't develop in this pseudo-future was the ability to doctor footage. Thank God everything we see is always true.
その上、未だ全銀河を支配下に置こうとしているのだ。それはラグナにおける先の戦闘で反応弾を用いるという暴挙に出たことからも明らかである。
Yeah, they're going down the entire list of shit we're supposed to do.
まさか我々はこのまま西風圏を拡大し銀河系の中心へと進軍統合政府を打倒し
Okay.
プロトカルチャーの正当
Did not anticipate this.
I did.
50万年前彼らが成し得なかった 大銀河文明を樹立させる。これは全銀河を地球人とそれに組みする者たちの支配から解放するための戦いである。羽ばたけ翼の民たちを。
So Macross was like, you know, what's a storyline that works? The Gundam one.
その翼を散らせる間際、陛下は私に全てを託され、私は必ず成し遂げるとルンに誓った。何を言っている。ロイド様の言う通りだ。このまま統合政府を。これ以上翼もないような者たちの。
Yeah, first step, tell the militants everything they want to hear, then assume authority.
我らが築く新たな文明の王となられるお方こそ。
Oh, okay. I thought Royd was trying to establish authority.
I like that they're not completely in sync.
常にウィンダミアの皆の幸せを願っていた。父と風に私も誓おう。ウィンダミアのため命を懸け、皆のために尽くすと。そして争いのない平和な国を。
A peaceful kingdom of domination.
銀河を築いてみせると。ルダンジャール、ロムマヤン。
Ah, those words we heard before. Free, free as the wind blows.
この歌声、風の歌。
ハイツ様が
風の歌いて。
I legit thought you guys knew who was singing this whole time.
I don't think they knew. Well, now we know that they didn't know.
これが風の歌。
Yeah, one on this planet too. I just assumed because it didn't have ruins of its own, it wouldn't have one of these. Biofolds. I guess they have roots. Makes sense.
何が起きてんだよ。
まだバールが発生するほどではないみたいだけど。
もし歌声がさらに強まるようなことがあれば。
As if amplified by a device.
銀河中のすべての人間がウィンダミアのマインドコントロール下に。
そんな。
The only way to fight it is to call up, She's gotta be protoculture. It does kind of feel like we're doing the frontier thing again, though.
Yeah.
Just a different way.
どうした。新統合軍の艦隊接近中です。わかった。
Oh, they're traders.
They have supposedly they have jammers.
救助セーターに接近するに従い強くなっています。
新型フォールドジャミングは
Not working.
No, I was anticipating that there were actually going to be elements within the Nun High Command that were actually siding with the Windamirians.
Yeah.
So I thought that's what these people were going to be, not the attack force. I thought he was grinning like, oh, these are actually our guys. No, what I was joking before was I thought, oh, the only way to defeat this mind control of the galaxy is to call up Grace. Get her to mind control the galaxy before they can.
フォールドジャミング搭載艦7隻確認。小賢しいハインツ様の歌声を阻もうなどと。よし。シュキ様。一機が限界相対速度を超え、こちらに
He got something to prove.
防空部隊
Wow. That freeze frame of his mouth just in the explosion. Yeah, essentially his actual vision got worse, but his vision of the wind got better. Again, very confused. Your rune shining is supposed to be a negative thing, but then if your runes don't shine enough, it's a negative thing. But also I'm going to compliment you on your rune shining. Said every bad guy ever about the hero of the show showing up. I mean, it does look painful. Oddly, if you consider it, that was the backdrop to a fight in Frontier. You remember they were having like this little test fight, and the backdrop was a dead Zentradi fleet with actual corpses still floating around and everything? That's how little we care about the Zentradi. This, for us, is horrible. Frontier, it's just an old battlefield, who the fuck cares? Still gonna have to figure you out, Royd. Still, it's a step, right? Like, we're going to attack the homeworld of the humans isn't exactly the same thing as trying to decimate the galaxy, which has been a number of Macross bump-ups. You know, Macross 7, gonna eat the entire galaxy. Macross Frontier, we're gonna Borg the entire galaxy. I guess the Zentradi kind of already ruled the galaxy, and they were just trying to suppress the Myclones, in which case, I guess if you think about it, the most successful villains in Macross have been the Zentradi.
Until they went to Earth.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, like, what was it? 499,999 years, the Zentradi succeeded.
Yeah.
The most successful empire in the history of Macross. But everybody else, you know, except for...
I mean, these guys want to mind control the galaxy, so...
Yeah, but I mean, you know, except for Birdman, and except for Sharon Apple, everybody else has had, you know, galactic plans. Who the hell knows what Apple would have been up to?
I mean, they do have galactic plans, because they're saying they want to control the entire galaxy with... I
understand that, but that's not the plan right now. The plan right now is to take out Earth and then do the galactic thing. Not Robert Kino. The inventor of the Kino machine. Draken. That must be the name of the fighter. He's a traitor. Who saved my life? It's weird that I'm actually shit-talking you after thanking you for saving my life.
Well, he didn't know who it was. You know?
Sorry, that's also the element that, again, I just got done editing episodes 13 and 14 where we had massive arguments about caring or not caring about who his father is. And here it is, his father again.
Yeah.
Again, the element of, do you care who saved your life, if not just the fact that they saved your life? Like, how evil does the person have to be that you're going to, like, turn their hand away when they try and save you?
Question is this I feel that this is the part where people say, oh, it's getting better because the stakes are bigger. But do you feel that it's actually getting better, or we're still in the sort of...
I think it's getting better, actually. This is a
But
well-paced episode that actually
Yes, it
gave me
was.
a bunch of... Well, one, it gives me death flags all over the place, but I don't read them as death flags. It's reading as all that time we spend with our main characters, learning the inconsequentials of their lives. This is that for now, the guys who've only seen from the other side. And it's doing work to answer questions. It's doing work to show us the political situation that we still have questions about, but is at least putting the effort in to show it to us. I would say this is a really good episode after a couple of questionable episodes.
Yeah, because a lot of the other episodes, I think they were, especially last episode was more place setting, especially in the beginning and the end. I knew the jammers were not going to work because it's not going to be that easy. I wish that they had worked a little better, but not that in such a way that, oh, yeah, we have a counter, but it's not a perfect counter. And then have an episode 2. It's like, oh, you thought you guys had a counter. Okay, we're going to up the power. And you know.
I'd say they worked well enough. Well, we also had the question at the end of episode 14, what do they even do? Like, we didn't know what they were going to use the jammers for, because it wasn't implied that the jammers were like a shipboard thing to stop VARs or the singing. Like, it could have been anything. I would say that if we were going to go your route, the thing to do would be not have the jammers here, let them attack Earth, and then have the jammers at Earth, and then we can, push it. Yeah, that they start failing, and then you see the effects on the entirety of the population of Earth, and then we have to fight through, not like fight through the effects of VARs or anything, but fight through to keep the jammers operational. And, it gives us a thing to focus on. It gives basically a ticking clock until the jammers fail that we have to succeed by. I mean, it would have been better. I don't actually know if we're ever going to Earth. Like, I know it's the target.
I doubt it.
It's the target, but that'd be a thing, right? Well, I don't know. We saw Earth in Frontier. Wouldn't be impossible. Yeah. And they say, if it gets really good, then maybe the really good thing is we go to Earth. And it becomes, now I'm more interested because, I don't know, everyone I know is from Earth. All my stuff is there.
They released Sharon 2.0 so she can do counter jamming.
I mean, I'd be down. Like, I joked during the episode about, like, oh, your new queen, Sharon Apple. But, at the end of the day, Sharon Apple did try to take over the command structure of an entire military at one point. Who knows what the fuck might happen? Maybe Sharon Apple launched a second version of herself out into space and it wound up on Windermere. And Windermerians aren't actually like this. It happened that they started doing this that long ago because Sharon Apple fucking landed on their planet. That'd be a thing.
It's still, I mean, again, now the Windermerians are blaming the nuns for bombing them, right? But if they were really just going to bomb them, they could have just bombed the entire thing and not just the one place, unless they were trying to excavate the
Arguably, it could have been the capital.
Yeah.
They probably tried to Jabberoo this.
There's something about the whole thing about who really is responsible is still a key to.
We also had to get through this when I was editing, this argument of does it even matter anymore? I'm still on the side of it doesn't matter.
Oh, they're bringing it back, though.
Are they? I think they're just justifying. I think we're constantly seeing justification, which isn't itself motivation anymore. We have the motivation. We're past motivation. We're acting. So, we're acting and we're acting. Which is to say we're acting because a bunch of people are claiming responsibility. So someone's lying. And what's lying but acting? But we're also acting is that we're doing stuff based on those past motivations.
Either way, I think it was a pretty good episode. The thing is now, of course, what will be the counter? Jammers don't work, and Wildcore works up to a point, but
we're gonna get what's her name's backstory.
Mikoto.
Yeah, we're gonna get her backstory, and then she's gonna get even more powerful, and then the Walkure singing is actually gonna start working again, and it's
or she sacrifices herself to activate something or something like that.
I think it's I doubt that'll be the case. At least not now. I think we gotta get way closer to the end of the show before anyone's gonna start sacrificing themselves again. That was the whole point about Messer. I feel like Messer was that storyline. No, it's probably Jan. She's gonna get more powerful. She's gonna reveal whatever that fucking secret thing is that she hinted about, and then Walkiere's gonna get stronger at singing, which I don't know. Probably you're gonna be able to broadcast. Although they did cover the fact that it's supposed to not work over recording, so I assume not over broadcast either, which would be the weakness of the thing. We can counteract anything that we're present for. Although, no, it has to work over broadcast because it wouldn't work planet-wide if it wasn't available to work over broadcast.
Yeah, but the signal, I mean, I think recorded is the issue. That recording is
in which case, we could just, hey, we need a bunch of you to be singing all the time, maybe 8 hours a day. You just go to sleep and then start singing again, and we're going to broadcast you across the entire galaxy, and then we negate their entire super weapon, in which case it's ultimately 6 guys that we have to look out for. It's just
tough.
It's just the knights, though. It's literally just the knights, because the background fleets of everything, it's just the people that they've mind controlled.
Well, they have their own fleet and troops as well.
Yeah, that we never see.
We've seen them a couple of times.
Once. We saw them once when they had to hack their way through the security system. And I think
when they attacked,
most of that was actually the mind-controlled people of the planet they were going to.
No, those were original ships, yeah.
No, those were the cat people ships.
No, they were original ships, because the cat people use nuns ships.
Yeah, it was the cat people ships. Because we saw in the previous episode that they mind-controlled the fleet defending that planet, and that was that fleet.
No, I think that fleet was original from Windermere. It wasn't the nuns. It wasn't the cat people.
I disagree.
Seems to be getting better. Although I do think we might have a rebellion among the knights. It's like, oh, I know you don't agree. It's like, he's going to get assassinated, or is he going to... Remember...
No, who do you think is going to rebel in the knights?
I think it's going to be the dude with the green paint on his face.
The one that I can't remember. The one who's had basically least voice lines of them all.
Yeah, but the one he really got calls like, oh, you got to concentrate on the mission here. I know you don't agree. It's like, oh, I have to visit my family before it's too late, Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't see anybody in the Knights that I would say is going to be opposite to the goal. Maybe Keith is going to go fucking insane, because it looked like he would have been crazed there. We know Bogue is all fucking in. Well, maybe Bogue, actually. If it turns out that it gets released that the Windermerians did this to themselves, and Bogue's entire fucking family dies, he's going to be going from the most motivated to fight the war, because I need revenge for my family. He's the most emotional of them all, too. To the realization that, oh my god, you guys did this to my family? That he would be the one to instantly turn if the revelation ever comes true.
Yeah.
Assuming,
which case it would still be important.
Assuming that it's true.
Yeah.
Again, everyone's taking credit. So, and again...
Probably, but publicly, they're blaming everyone else.
Well, publicly, they broadcasted a message that, no, the nuns did this to us.
Anyway, they're doing that. Which either both of them are wrong, and it's a third party.
We have the corporation.
Or one of them is wrong. Or someone is wrong, and,
Is the corporation a different race?
No, I think they're humans.
Then why are we cool with them?
Because they're helping, I guess.
They're fucking
I'm
humans.
not cool with them. Yeah.
Humans.
The question is why they're doing it. And they seem to be connected somehow to the nuns as well, so...
I don't know if they're connected to the nuns. It hasn't been established that they were the ones supplying the apples and the water. It's just, we know that was a thing that was being supplied to the nun military by a
Or it could be that they know something about the technology that the Windermerians don't know because they're the ones doing the actual research. So when it gets fully unlocked, they're like, thanks, idiots.
I think it's
And
just a
switch the
money
play that we
thing.
got.
I think it's just a greed thing. But my point is, though, I just don't understand why the Windermerians are cool working with humans here, when the entire point is we got to get rid of humans.
I mean, the enemy of my enemy is my friend until I don't need them
I don't
anymore.
think they're enemies. Literally, the corporation, I think, is going to work with anybody. Literally,
Well,
it's just why are we beholden to what these guys are able to give us? Why don't we just, I don't know, VARs them, take them over, and then force them to do the research for us? Subservient to us, like we want all humans to be.
But would it work at that level, I suppose? I don't think it works at that level. You can literally VAR someone into doing research.
I would think you would have to work.
No, because remember
I would have to think that you wouldn't be able to VARs a fighter pilot and then have them be effective at doing fighter pilot stuff, because I think a fighter pilot would require some amount of creativity and thought in piloting a jet. So if they can have creativity and thought, I would have to think a researcher would equally have some sort of creativity.
It's easier just to give us some credits and like, you want to do this? Yeah, how much? Okay, here we go. Just do it.
That's not the point,
it's easier.
though.
Why?
I don't think easier is the point. I think subservience is the point.
Well, I mean, they probably think we're winning, so these guys have to do it anyway. It's like, why would they want to be in the losing side anyway?
That feels like, well, one, they are on the losing side by genetic lottery. You were born human. It's a racism thing.
I mean, yeah, I know, but it's
it also feels like what you're proposing is that the bad guys should be a little bit dumber so they can lose.
No, I don't think they're being dumb necessarily.
No. To your proposition that this would be easier done with money, so join the winning side and just do what we tell you to do, versus we could just mind control them and that would be that. No risk.
But remember, they were originally the Windermerians they have the theories, but they didn't have the research ability. The company comes in and is doing that, and so my guess is that Royd is waiting for the point where they don't need them anymore. It's like, we don't need you anymore. Well, control.
That would always be the case, though, because they're human.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it comes down to racism for me. I'm just saying that it seems I don't understand why they're working with humans. That is the end and the beginning of my statement.
They just need the technology, or they need to know how this particular humans have. Because they didn't have it themselves. We thought that they were unlocking it themselves, and then these guys show up. I was like, oh no, we're unlocked 30%.
I mean, I don't argue with that point because I understood that from the beginning. My point is that I think they could mind control them and still have them do research.
Well,
I still think they should be able to.
I don't think they could have done it earlier. I think now they might be able to do it, but not earlier.
I think they could have done it earlier. I mean, it depends on what you're defining as earlier.
Earlier, the only thing they did with VARs was
I'm talking about earlier, as in like 5 episodes ago, back when they started mind controlling people. I mean, literally, I think they could have snuck in the chemicals that they have in the apples and the water into these guys' food. Like, obviously, these guys aren't going to drink the water in the apples that they know has the stuff, but it's a chemical property that is mixed into the apples and is already in the water that they could then mix in, the weird math of the green-haired girl's. I can't remember her name. I can't remember anyone's name today.
I mean, I think it's still easier. Yeah, they might be racist.
Hell, technically, you could just take those chemicals, put them in a tranquilizer dart. I'm just using tranquilizer dart because I can't remember the name of the actual ammunition that the thing uses. Just put the chemicals in that, shoot every human you see to inject them with that chemical composition, and boom, you've technically got VARs in you.
I mean, I think, again, it's an extra step they don't need to take right away. It's just waiting to the point where they don't need them anymore. It's like, thank you very much.
These guys are literally uncontrolled humans in the midst of your most important project. If you had you might as well be standing back open to them at all times. I'm here, backstab me any moment you want.
I think they maybe also believe that they're faster and stronger, so if humans do anything they don't trust, they just
God forbid, unless they're injured and have a hologram. Sorry, this is an argument that literally came up in like episode 13 or 14 of the edit, which is literally the fact that they are superhuman, but were defeated by an injured guy and a hologram. So I guess doesn't matter how much physically better you are if you're a little bit smarter. Just a little bit smarter.
Or maybe
motivated.
that's it. Maybe that is part of that's a weakness, that they're arrogant, right? They believe themselves to be superior. It's like, yeah, we got this.
Horrible genetic trait.
Not a genetic trait, just
Windemirians are genetically superior. Not genetically superior because of actual superiority. They are genetically, their psychology, due to their genetics, they all believe themselves to be superior.
Probably not the average Windemirian, but probably people like Roy do.
I mean, why not? Why wouldn't the Windemirian farmer think that they're still better than the best human?
Why would they, though? Unless they're being propagandized to be that way.
Or maybe it's in their genes.
Yeah, I don't think that goes that far. I think that's the part where you would define it by genes.
I mean, I'm just working off of your thing, so.
I didn't. At no point did I say it was genes.
You said that they were all that way. And it's like, well, if they're all that way, then that means any baby born. So here you go, back to that shit again. So I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?